I still can't believe that Skechers has their own basketball shoes now. Like, who would have thought? Yo guys, what is good? Zakaragi back at it again, and today we have a review for the Skechers SKX RESAGRIP or RESAGRIP. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it, but these are the new basketball shoes from Skechers. So without further ado guys, let's get straight into this review. So these guys retail for 150 bucks US or 230 Canadian, and honestly, I do feel like that is kind of steep, especially for Skechers for the first time they're ever putting out a basketball shoe. I would have thought that it would have been on the cheaper side, but it is what it is at this point. So this is one of two basketball models that Skechers put out for their new line. So this is the SKX RESAGRIP and the other one is the SKX Float. I actually had the opportunity to see both in person. So this one is more of a guard oriented shoe, I want to say, and the SKX Float seems more like a bigger dude kind of setup just because it is more cushioned as opposed to these guys right here. So you've probably seen these on the feet of Julius Randle, Terrence Mann, and the SKX Float you've probably seen on the feet of Joel Embiid or also Julius Randle as well. So Skechers has their own little family of NBA athletes so far, and it's kind of cool to see, honestly. I love when brands are finally stepping out of their comfort zone, going into new territory and trying out new things, and you know, this happens to be Skechers this time, so shout out to Skechers. So with these guys right here, I actually really like the look of the shoe. I think it's pretty fire. I do think that it kind of reminds me of the New Balance Omnis 1. I believe that's what it's called. It's the shoe that Kawhi wore when he was with Toronto and he won the championship. So kind of has that same silhouette in my opinion. You guys can tell me otherwise in the comment section down below, but other than that, I think it is a very nice looking shoe. Fire. But I do want to point out a funny story about these. So I actually got these in the Eden Center, which is in downtown Toronto. So I went to the Skechers store down there. I happened to just be looking in there and I noticed they had a basketball mannequin out in display and whatnot, and I was like, whoa, there's no way they have these shoes or the other shoes there already. And I was like, I gotta go check it out just to be sure, right? So I told my girlfriend, go to Browns, go try on all the Uggs that you want to try on. I'll be in Skechers. And to my surprise, they had these in the other model, and whew, I was so surprised, guys. Like, I couldn't even get these online like instantly because they would be shipping from California to Canada and I have to wait 2 weeks, they said. So as soon as I saw this, I'm like, man, this is going to be a definite impulse buy, but I have to get them. So I went inside, I asked the kind person working there to try on both pairs, this one and the SKX Float. I obviously wanted to go with this one, and man, I talked to that guy and he was telling me like this is the third pair ever that he sold, and his store, his Skechers store, was the only store in Canada that had these in store. Like, I don't know if this guy is bullshitting me, so I get the shoes and buy them, but man, I'm so happy that I bought these because I get to do this review for you guys, and I just love being able to test out and review new shoes. So let's start things off, guys. Let's talk about the box that these come with. So the box is right here. We have a nice red and black Skechers basketball box, and it says right here, the Comfort Technology Company. And this box actually has something that I wish a lot of other brands did, and it has a tech spec breakdown. So what we have here is Skechers Hyperburst Pro and Hyperburst, which we'll get into later on for the cushioning department, because that is the cushioning that's used in these shoes. And it has Goodyear technology for the outsoles, and it's pretty interesting actually. So let's talk about that setup right now. So with these shoes, the outsole is right here. Now when you hear Goodyear, right, you would assume a rubber compound because Goodyear is a tire company, but when it comes to these guys right here, I don't think this is a rubber compound. I want to say it is a foam. Someone can correct me in the comments down below if you know for sure, but when I played in them earlier today and how it felt when I was, biting the floor with these shoes and just moving around and whatnot and testing out the grip. If you haven't seen my traction test video, link will be up here, but this really does feel like a foam outsole and look like a foam outsole as well. And given that it doesn't squeak when you kind of kick your feet on the floor, that kind of is another dead giveaway that this could be a foam outsole. But nonetheless, just from my initial traction test video, these actually did perform pretty damn well, which I was very happy about, especially given that the court that I was on was pretty damn dusty. But the whole design of this outsole right here is this kind of wavy pattern as well as some spirals as well, and it works. Honestly, it works. So on clean courts, I can imagine that this setup will be crazy good given that this is potentially a foam outsole. But on dustier courts, so far, I mean, you do need to wipe from time to time, but other than that, it's been pretty good for me. Also, you'll notice this TPU shank plate on the outsoles right here that extends upwards towards the midsole, and this thing is great, guys. Gives you some nice stability and torsional support to the shoes. And as far as other support pieces the shoe has to offer, we do have an external and internal heel counter, so you're getting some really nice containment and support on that end of the shoe as well, and it does feel pretty sturdy, which is great. Now, when it comes to the cushioning setup for these shoes, how does it feel? So like I mentioned before, we do have the dual density foam setup of Hyperburst and Hyperburst Pro, and if you're wondering what that foam is, there's a little bit of a description on the tech specs right here. So they're both a highly responsive, ultra lightweight, long lasting and resilient TPU cushioning. Thank you, SKECHERS, for providing that, so I know, and now you guys know. And as far as how it felt, so from a try-on perspective, they did feel very plush, and I actually want to credit that mostly towards this insole right here, because this thing is awesome. Definitely a grade above what's featured on other basketball shoes, like stuff from Nike. Their insoles are crap. Like, this thing is great. As you can see here, it is very beefed up towards the midfoot area, going back towards the heel area, and that feels awesome. And it does taper down towards the forefoot area, and it does still feel good on foot, don't get me wrong, but definitely not as plush as the back part of it. So this insole is definitely really great and added some great step-in comfort. But as far as how the dual density foam of Hyperburst felt, so when I played in these, it definitely was more firm and dense feeling, especially in this heel part right here. So I feel like the foam is really caged in this part of the midsole right here and doesn't have enough room to expand. So I feel like the more that I play in these, the more that they will break in, and hopefully the foam feels better. But in the forefoot area right here, it definitely felt responsive, which was awesome, and you're getting a lot of good court feel as well, which does feel great. Now, getting into the materials, and it's probably my least favorite part about the shoes, mainly because it just looks and feels very cheap and not worth paying that $150 US or $230 Canadian price tag. So what we have here is a screen mesh that has plenty of ventilation holes for breathability. Then on top of that, we do have a heat welded fused material on all the high wear areas. Then we also have some textile towards the back part of the shoe, and the shoes are pretty well padded on the tongue area mostly, and as well as the top of the Achilles area right here. But all in all, these materials just feel very cheap in hand and just feel like they don't have great quality as well. Like, I can't speak to the durability of them over time. I'm not confident they will be durable over time. And also, just from playing in them for the hour that I did, it does feel comfortable on foot, and it doesn't need any break-in time at all, which is great. But like I said, durability is a potential issue, and if you do plan on taking these outdoors, I don't know exactly how long these will last you, because the materials are also razor thin, especially the screen mesh right here, and I just feel like you could potentially rip these pretty damn easily. Now, when it comes to the fit of these shoes, They do fit true to size. I feel like even if you are a wide footer, you can go true to size. So I'm a size 10, but with a size 10 in these guys, and I had no issues at all. So obviously, if you can, try them on in store, but if you can't, going true to size should work best. But overall, guys, I am very happy that SKECHERS is diversifying their products and stepping into unfamiliar territory by going into the basketball shoe market. So personally, I feel like this is a good start for SKECHERS, and there is lots of room for improvement. We'll find out just how much improvement when I do the performance review for these, so stay tuned for that. But let me know what you think about these in the comments down below. Do you feel like you would try out a shoe from SKECHERS for basketball purposes, or would you not and stray away from them? Let me know in the comment section down below. But we're at that point of the video, guys. Now it's time for hashtag Sakuragi, what you rocking. So for today, guys, I have one of the best basketball shoes you can possibly get on the market right now, and this is the Way of Wade 10 Low in the avocado colorway. If you haven't seen the video I've done for these, link will be up here. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I'm signing out. Peace.